Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this very important webinar on AI-powered low-code test automation. We are very excited to have you with us today, where we would be exploring ways to leverage AI to achieve and improve test coverage with lower effort. I'm Shambhavi. I am a product growth manager at BrowserStack and your host for today's session. I have been associated with BrowserStack for 3 years, and I'm currently leading the product growth initiatives for our low-code testing solutions. Joining me is Aditi, an expert in the field of low-code testing at BrowserStack, leading the product initiatives for the low-code testing solutions. Aditi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I am Aditi and I'm working as a product manager on low code test automation product of BrowserStack from more than a year now and happy to share on the topic today.
Great. Thank you, Aditi. Now, before we begin, here are a few housekeeping items. The session will run for an hour, including 15 minutes reserved at the end for Q&A. This session will be recorded and the recording will be made available to all the participants. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the Zoom Q&A box and we'll address them during the Q&A session at the end. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the agenda for our session today. So the webinar is structured to give you a comprehensive understanding of low-code testing and introduce our in-house solution, BrowserStack Low Code Automation. Then we'll go through a detailed product demo. The next segment would be where we talk about how we have integrated AI into our product and some best practices associated with it. We'll wrap up with what's in store for us, which is the product roadmap, and then we'll end the session with the Q&A. So let's get started. Let's start by acknowledging a reality we have all seen. Traditional test automation relies heavily on code-based tools like Selenium. And while powerful, these tools require specialized technical skills, that is, skill developers or QA engineers, which isn't always feasible at scale. This leads to three major challenges. First, automation becomes hard to scale and maintain. Second, you see a delayed ROI. You're investing early, but the returns come much later. And third, finding skilled automation engineers is becoming harder and costlier. And all of this creates friction in delivering faster and more reliable software. So that is where low-code testing helps. So low-code testing can help you adopt test automation faster with like faster velocity, but with less effort. So low-code automation is relevant for the entire spectrum of events. For teams that have some automation, but are mostly testing manually, you want to get started with automation, but do not have the specialized skills right now, and your testers are mostly manual, and you still want to get started with automation, to improve coverage, save time. And along with that, if you are a team that's already using code-based automation, low-code automation still helps you achieve greater coverage with lower effort. In your software development life cycle, you would, develop the feature, then test it before you release it, right? Now, the testing part means you would need to write your automation scripts, which might take like a sprint or even more, but the coverage might still not be as much as you would have liked. But with low code automation, you can achieve much more coverage while spending the same amount of time or even less. So if say you're doing a lot of manual regression, you're doing smoke testing, sanity testing, which kind of slows down your releases, then you have non-tech experts like, product managers or business analysts who would want to help with testing, but they don't really code. Third, test coverage is low and it's taking too long to build automation. And lastly, your tests are flaky and you spend more time fixing them than building on writing new ones, right? Our low code automation product is definitely worth exploring. To use a low code automation solution, you just need to download a desktop application and create and run your tests in 2 minutes. It's basically not a standalone product, but more like a platform in itself. So, you can do functional testing, record your tests, use AI assistance for your tests, and all kinds of functional validations as well. You don't really need to worry about any test execution because it's available for you out of the box because you can utilize our cross-browser testing capabilities to test on a wider number of platforms. Let me take you through how we at BrowserStack have simplified low-code automation and test authoring for you with our intuitive test recorder. Um, AI in BrowserStack's low-code automation solution kind of supercharges low-code testing We have elevated the recorder experience to automate even the most complex and dynamic workflows using natural language. Some examples of dynamic workflows can be, to select a date from the next month or to verify that the list is sorted in a particular order. Further, our AI agent converts manual test cases to low-code automated tests, and with AI-driven self-healing, the tests automatically adapt to any UI changes, so no more brittle locators or constant network. So yes, with that, I'll now hand it over to Aditi to take us through a detailed product demo and also the AI capabilities. Aditi, over to you.
Thank you, Shambhavi. Before we go back into um, AI and how AI integrates with our product, I would like to share my screen and just walk you through our low-code automation product first. So this is the desktop application that we have. We also have a web app version of the same where you can access all your tests and builds, etc. But you would need the desktop application to create tests and execute them locally. So it's to start recording a test or to create a test, you just need to simply put the URL that you want to test here and click on start recording. You can record tests on desktop, mobile, or tablets, and we provide different resolutions that you can record on. So I'll just start recording an example on calendly.com. The workflow I've picked is to create an event on Calendly. As you can see, when I clicked on start recording, a recorder panel was launched on the right side and a fresh, clean browser session was also launched. This is a Chrome browser session and like, it is separate from your any other active Chrome session that might be there. So you don't need to worry about any cache or cookies or session data getting carried forward. So I'll just quickly log in now with some sample data or sample email ID password that I already have. Now I've logged in into the application. I want to check whether I have actually logged in and if the user that I have logged in with is correct or not. So I can add a text validation. So this is the username here, John Doe. So I can just add a text validation on this element and check, validate whether the element text is John Doe. But before that, if you see, I performed a couple of steps manually, like I would while doing a manual test as well. And it was recorded as steps on the recorder in plain, simple English, which is easily understood by anyone. So it's as simple as just doing your steps on the browser and it'll get recorded as a test step. Now I've validated the element text. I'll go further and I will go about creating the event that I want to create. So I'll just create an event here and select on one-on-one. I'll give an event name. Now at this point, I want to say, let's say, new meeting with Aditi. I have one use case here that I want to validate if these icons and this names are appearing correctly in the correct color. So what I can do is I can use visual validation to do this. So I just don't want to validate the text or the element, but I want to validate if it is appearing correctly on the web page, if it is rendered correctly. So I'll just add a visual validation here. This uses our Percy product in the backend and takes a screenshot, which will be compared to a screenshot which will be taken when you execute this step, this test again. Okay, so now I've added a visual validation. I'll just go ahead and create this. Create this event. As you can see, I want to check if a new event was created or not. I don't need to check the text, or I don't need to check anything visually over here. I just want to check that, okay, if a new element has appeared or not, or if an element is present or not. So I'll add an element presence validation on this entire um, element that I see on the web page. So these are some validations that are available to you in low code automation as you go about it. Okay, one more thing I wanted to tell you is, okay, one place where we have integrated AI is I am entering a name for your event. Every time I want to give a unique name or a different name, so what I can do is, or maybe I'm using sample data here. So I want, it's very difficult for me to come up with different data all the time. So I can use BrowserStack AI to generate sample data for me. So I'll just say any valid first name, and it will generate that for me. So let me just save it. So every time I execute this test, it will generate a fresh random name with this prompt and execute this test. So just save this test. I can give it a name, create event on calendar. And I will save and run. As a best practice, we save this test and execute it immediately, so that we are sure whatever steps you have just recorded as a test will execute the second time without any surprises. So that's where we will try to execute this test once more. And this is how you can execute the tests locally again. As you can see, I am doing nothing and this test is executing by itself. Whatever I had recorded when I was recording the test is getting executed as it is. And as and when each step passes, it's just getting marked accordingly. So I'll just exit at this point. So this is how we create a test using the recorder workflow. The other things are you can put all these different tests into a test suite and then execute the test suite to create a cloud build. At this point, we'll be using BrowserStack's cloud infrastructure to execute tests on, uh, you know, not your machine. So let me just create a sample test suite here. And I'll just add the test that I have just created. You can execute this test, which was created on Chrome, on multiple browsers. So I just selected two. You can schedule them to execute at different days and a time. And you can also select a configuration whether you want to rerun these uh, tests if they have failed once in the build. And then there are multiple other configurations available to you here if you're testing on a private environment, or if you want to do accessibility testing and so on. So you can just configure these things at a test suite level and create a test suite. When you execute this test suite, a build will be created. I will just show you an existing build that I have. This was a build that I had created. And if these are the two tests that I had created earlier, place order and validate that the order was placed. If I execute, if I click on one of the test executions, you'll see this is a cloud execution that was done. You can go through the video of the test execution. You can download the console network logs and see if there are any failures. Here, there are no failures, so you'll just see that the test has executed perfectly fine. Then There are multiple other things within the test authoring experience that are available to you. Like if you want to use email value coming from a data set, so you can just import a value from data set here, so that every time you run this test on a cloud execution, this test runs against all the scenarios or all the rows in that data set. So that is support for data driven testing. Then you can, if you have a secretive or confidential data like password, you can just convert it into secrets and so on. You can also select like a couple of steps and create modules which can be reused across tests. You can create loops uh, which can execute multiple times. So these are some authoring capabilities that are available to you. I don't want to go much deeper in this, but the recorder has much more capabilities like email, interacting with email for any email related workflows, making API calls, making database calls. Um, we also have a range of integrations with accessibility testing. We're building one for visual testing that completes your entire test platform and allows you to do functional and non-functional testing in the same platform. But I don't want to go deeper into that today. What I want to talk about is when and how we have introduced AI into our product. So for that, I'll just go back to our slides and go over this. With Recorder, you can do most of your simpler workflows, but things kind of get trickier whenever you are dealing with any complex scenarios or dynamic workflows. Like, let's say there's a table that appears after you apply some filters, so that the data on the web page is itself going to change. So you can't actually uh, code something into any kind of a workflow. Like it can be a low code automation test, or it can be a script based automation test. Things get trickier when you have to automate any kind of dynamic workflows. Some examples are listed here, which we also mentioned earlier, like selecting dynamic date inputs. You want to select future dates. One example is you're booking a flight, and today you record a test and you want to select a future date. If you hard code a date, that test will start failing at some point after that date has passed. So you want to actually select a dynamic date which is always in the future, or you want to select a product with a 5-star rating. So these are all examples in a e-commerce application. If there are multiple products listed in like a blockwise format, and you want to select only a particular one which matches your criteria, uh, that might be difficult to actually code, but easier to describe it to another person or understand it as a human. So what you can do is you can use our AI powered authoring. At this point, you can introduce an AI step which takes an objective which you can describe easily, which you can describe easily, and it will try to execute that prompt, or by understanding your objective, taking the application state into context, and perform like one or multiple steps to achieve that objective. So this can actually work in tandem with your uh, recorder experience. You don't need to actually have everything as an AI step, but you can add AI steps in between your recorder. So I'll just go back to the application and go about a example of what I'm saying. For this, I've picked a website flight.kayak.com, which is actually a flight booking website. And I will try to book a flight in for like Delhi to Bangalore for a particular date. And I want to just validate if the results that appear, like I will first sort and then I'll validate that the results are appearing in the right order. So let me just select Delhi to Bangalore. Now I have to select the departure date. I want to make sure that if I am recording this test today, it still executes perfectly tomorrow. I don't have to come back and maintain it. So in this case, it's recommended to use an AI step. What I'll say is select a date as any available date in the future. And I'll click on perform this step. So as the step is executing, you will get real-time feedback on, okay, what is the AI thinking and how is it deriving the next step or the next action that it is going to perform on the website. Right now, it is taking the application context and trying to understand your objective. Like if you can read here, it says that, okay, the current date is shown as 28th October. I need to select any available date in the future. So yeah, it has executed this step and selected 1st November as the future date. I'll just go ahead and search. Now we'll get search results and I will, right now, if you can see, they're not in an ascending order or in any kind of order. They're just in a best format. I'll just order them in cheapest. And now if you can see on the browser that they're ordered. This is easy for you and me to understand as a human, but how do I now code it into this workflow? This is the part that becomes tricky. And let's say we can use an AI interaction step. What I'll do is I'll validate that the flight prices are listed and in the sentiment that is cheapest. Flight list. And I'll perform this step. While this is performing the step, there's one interesting fact to note here. Most AI tools take just the viewport of the browser into context to perform the AI step. Like it would just take the first three results and then validate them. But we actually take the entire full page as context and perform the AI validation or any AI step. So we'll also, in fact, validate the later parts of the web page as well. Later parts of the web page as well to do this kind of a validation. So essentially, we're doing it on the entire page. Okay, so this is yeah. So this is how you can like easily introduce AI into your like recorder or your simple workflow to perform any kind of complex or dynamic objectives in between. Essentially, not everything needs to be like an AI step. Like click on search element is pretty deterministic. So you don't need an AI agent or an AI step here to do this. You can just record it in a simple manner. And that's why we say that you can use it like in between. I'll just exit this for now. And I want to talk about how we have taken this one step even further and allow you a second mode of test creation, which is automating test with AI. So in this, what you do is you just give your well-defined test case, which you already might have in some platform in some manner, and you give it to the AI tool and it will automate the test for you end to end. Like for example, I'll just, for lack of a better example, I'm using BStack demo, which is a sample e-commerce website. And I have a well-defined, well-written test case already here. If you can look at the test case, what I want to do is I can verify that the user has logged in and add a product to cart on BStack demo. Just there are some preconditions that I have noted down. Here you can tell any of the setup logic or any prerequisites that are required, like login or system state conditions. So I just have these two. Then I have these steps that need to be performed, which are written in a very normal English language, like you would write your test case, but they're descriptive enough for the AI tool to understand. And so I've added these steps, and then this is the expected output. Once you have given this test case, what you can do is you just click on test, automate test creation, and that's it. You sit back and relax while we create the test for you, and you'll get notified uh, once this test is created. It will just take a couple of minutes, but in interest of time, I already have executed the same before, and I will show you the test that was created. Can I just bring this up as well? Okay. So so this is the test case that was created, test that was created from this test case, and it is the same workflow that I have asked it to do. And in the end, it also adds some validations to make sure that the expected output is correct. So this is how you can utilize our AI authoring agent to generate tests altogether. Now you'll ask me, I need to give test cases and my test cases reside in test case management. So we have a solution for that as well. If you're using BrowserStack's test management tool, I'll just exit this for a moment and go to test management. You'll have all your test cases listed in this format. If you open any of the test cases, you can just simply click on automate using BrowserStack AI. It will take all of the data that you have written here as preconditions and test steps and try to create a low code automated test. So this is a one-step process from test management to create a low code automation test, and then you just put it into a test suite and execute it. It's that easy to create your regression suites and so on. So you don't need to do any kind of extra recording. But there are two callouts here. As you can see, you see a warning that this test case may require updates. Please review. It's ready for automation. When we say ready for automation, actually this test does not have any steps. So we by default identify, is this an automatable test? We don't, right now we support only functional test automation. So if you try to make any API calls or do any DB calls via this route, that's not supported yet. And this is also an alpha version. So bear with it. We're constantly making workflow enhancement. We're trying to make this more assistive in nature. Like when I say this, it also includes the second test case creation method. We're also trying to make it more assistive in nature, in the sense that as and when the AI is creating the test, you as a human can also intervene at some point and correct it maybe. Yeah, the test that I had just automated is uh, ready for me, and I can just review it or I can run it. I'll just open it and show it to you that, okay, this is the same test and all the steps and validations are added correctly. So that is about AI. Okay, I think I've covered the parts of the demo. I would want to go back to the slides now again. So we talked about AI steps within the recorder. We talked about AI as a method of test creation altogether. So that's our AI automated tests. We also have AI self-healing. So we have a element selection algorithm in place for all of our test executions, which is supplemented by a healing algorithm. We have an AI self-healing layer which identifies, which tries to find an element if there was a none found by the element selection algorithm, which tries to heal your test and reduces test maintenance and flakiness and helps with stability altogether. And then we demoed. Okay, this is. There are some best practices that I wanted to cover for using the low-code authoring agent or the AI authoring agent. We want you to describe the goal altogether that you're trying to achieve, not just the clicks. Like when I gave the select date prompt, I did not say uh, add a date in this element or select a button which is not red or something. I said select a date which is any available date in the future. So this tries to describe what is it that I want to achieve by executing this step. It also helps to not be vague. Like if you are as descriptive as possible, it improves the chances of getting a deterministic result every time. Like I'm not saying uh, AI is supposed to be non-deterministic and that's why we're using it. We want dynamic output. Uh, but if you explain very well by what you mean, uh, you'll get the desired result most of the times. Like even when I mentioned ascending order, I told it, okay, that means cheapest flight is first. Then the next idea is to use on-screen text or visual cues and base your prompts on what you can see and interact with, rather than specifying any CSS locators or XPaths. It's easier to say that, okay, interact or select a button. Like, let me just escape and take an example here. So if I want to if I want to click on the share button, it would help for me to say that, okay, click on the share button, which is next to the slideshow button in the top right corner, rather than saying that click on the share button whose CSS locator or XPath locator is so and so. And then lastly, again, we're saying that I think I've mentioned this, but I'll just reiterate it that keep using the recorder for all simple static actions or validations. It's very powerful in nature as you can do many advanced things as well with it, like an API call or an email testing workflow or a file validation, and use the AI step for your complex or dynamic workflows. Use the AI authoring agent to reduce the time to test creation. You can create a template and then edit it further to create your tests. So it kind of just helps you in faster test creation. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to cover on best practices for low code.
So yeah, before we move on, I would also like to showcase how our product has helped teams achieve faster and more efficient automation with a lower effort. As you can see, multiple customers have loved using the product, and we have received very promising feedback. And while we have incorporated a lot of that in our product, there are still a lot of things we look forward to achieving with the product. So yes, at this point, I would like to take you through the product roadmap and also what's in store for us. So we have categorized our roadmap into three broad themes. First one is AI agents. What is the next big thing coming up when we talk about AI in low-code automation? Then low-code automation for mobile apps. I do see a lot of questions that have come in for low-code automation for mobile apps as well. So this is low-code mobile testing where you can create mobile tests for iOS and Android. And we also have a solution for the app logo testing as well. And then we have the end-to-end testing platform with built-in integrations for test management, execution, debugging, and reporting. So yes, I'll hand it over to Aditya now to take us through the detailed roadmap.
So we have just seen the entire AI-powered low-code test authoring piece. What we're doing in this quarter is we're also extending this support to our Android and iOS and tablet platforms. So you can record tests on mobile browser and tablets using the AI workflows. We have also added this capability to reference existing variables in your natural language prompts to perform actions or validations. Yeah, so this is, I think I've covered a lot on AI. The next piece is we have launched or released these features on file content validation, and we have now support for database call. We do support MySQL and PostgreSQL databases or database connections. We will be extending this support to MS SQL and Oracle DB in this quarter. For test authoring, you can also configure test flags on Chrome browser. Like this includes setting some microphone permissions or interacting with any pop-ups that come up while you're testing. So these capabilities will be handled as Chrome flags. We will also support email workflow testing, which we do support for desktop already. We'll extend the support to mobile browsers as mobile browser testing as well. Moving on to validations within test authoring, we'll add explicit date validations and date controls for like these complex selecting future date or selecting past dates or kind of scenarios. We'll also extend the support for visual validation to non-Chrome browsers. And next is we'll support recording and replaying steps on some rich text editors that we have not supported previously. In test maintenance, we already have a self-healing agent. We have capabilities to specify which element locators you want to prioritize among some of the which element locators or attributes you want to call as reliable or unreliable. At a application level, we have the setting already. It's not mentioned here, but I just saw questions, so I'm answering that. We'll be supporting this AI healing on non-Chromium browsers, that is Safari and Firefox as well, going forward. Coming to test execution, like we have talked a lot about test authoring. Coming to test execution, we have recently launched blockwise test execution that allows you to divide your test suite into blocks and then add some configurations on top of it, whether you want to execute them in parallel or sequence. So it just gives you more control over how you want to execute your tests. We will be supporting environment variables. Like we want to support environment variables, like you can create different environment profiles and try and execute the same test on different environments like prod or staging. You don't need to create duplicate tests for that. So far the we support browsers on CBT, but we will also be giving you the control on which specific browser versions do you want to execute your tests on. Right now, we are anyway using the latest versions of the browsers, but if you want to test on any N-1, N-2 versions, you can do so. As part of governance, we have GRR as one of the line items. We support GRR EU already, and the second item that we'll be supporting this quarter will be roles-based access control. So if you are working in large teams and you want to segregate who accesses based on roles, you can do so by providing, like, we'll be giving you more granular control over that. Organizing tests, one of the things that we've seen is users want the ability to copy or move tests from one project to another. So that is something we're working on this quarter. Then as part of best practices, which is something we deeply care about, we already have, as part of data-driven testing, we support CSV as a source. So you can upload a CSV to create a data set and then do data-driven testing. We also now support database as a source for a data set creation. So this makes your data set more dynamic in nature rather than having a CSV. We also we have modules, which I briefly touched upon as a best practice, which is a reusable component of test steps which can be used across tests. So we now provide more configuration on top of the module. Like you can pass or you can override variables to have specific values for a module instance. Like in one test, if you want to use different username and password, but you want your module structure to actually remain the same, that is supported. And then we are building a solution to manage your test data more efficiently. You might have it in a CSV or an Excel file or somewhere, all your test data, the values that you will be using in your test. So that is something we're working on this quarter. Moving on to more larger things, we already support accessibility testing. We will be supporting visual testing very soon. I could have touched it in my demo, but in interest of time, I did not. But yeah, it's like really close now. So you can do your functional and non-functional testing within low-code automation itself using the same test. If I create a test, I can just configure the test suite to create a accessibility report as well, and create a visual testing report as well. These use our BrowserStack's accessibility platform per se to create these reports. So that is visual testing is something we're working on. We're also building our test reporting and analytics capabilities. We already support sharing the builds URL publicly to anyone who might not even be on your account. So by build, I mean the entire build execution or the cloud execution that we saw and had the video, etc. You can share it with anyone, any stakeholder who might not have access to creating tests on low code as well. And then we are also introducing build insights. So this will give you insights across builds, show you pass fail trends, failure reasons, and spot patterns easily to enhance test quality. Lastly, I want to cover integrations. Um, One of the biggest integrations we have been developing since like a couple of quarters now is with test management tools. We already support integration with TestRail. We are building integration with Azure Test Plan, and we are building a very like a deeper integration with BrowserStack's test management. When I say integration with test management tools, what it does, it links your tests in LCA to your test cases in your TM tool. And once you execute these once you execute this test cases on low code automation, uh, and the data flows from low code automation to your um, TM tool and creates a build or a test to run in that tool as well. So you get visibility into what is happening to your automated test on your TM tool as well. So we have the TM integration, like test management integration planned for this quarter. Okay, I see there are a lot of questions, uh, and we've tried to answer some of them um, in the chat itself. I mean, we'll try to cover most of the questions that we can. And for the ones we will not be able to answer, we'll get back to you. Let me just go through the Q&A or chat box and try to answer a few. Okay. There's so many questions. I can't just. Can we rerun the failed test case alone without manual intervention after the build is failed? Yes. That's why we have a configuration at the test suite level itself. So once you have executed the build and some test has failed, we'll try to rerun it once more so that we try to execute the test again and see if it passes. So that is a configuration in your test suite itself. Okay, let's for running the test on cloud, does the license already include device form or grid provision? Yes, it's already included as part of uh, your BrowserStack license, the low code automation license. Is there a solution for image comparison? For image comparison, we have a visual validation step, and we also have visual testing integration. So that is something you would want to look into. Can we send the reports to email after execution? Yes. After execution, we do send an email or to your account and whoever is on your account. You can also configure who should get that email. If you want to add any more people, you can do that. You can also integrate with Slack to get notifications on Slack. Do we have support of uploading files as part of workflow? Yes, you can upload files as part of your workflow. So file upload is supported. You just need to perform it like any other step, like a click step, and it'll get recorded. Can it automatically generate test cases for a web page if URL is provided? It's You would want to check out test management for the same. It's a capability there. Okay. There's so many questions that I want to answer, but in interest of time, we'll try to answer it async. And lastly, thank you and see you next time. Hopefully, you had a lot of takeaways from this session. We'll get back to you on your interest and your questions. Thank you.